Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 66 based on novel. So let's start. Chudu, the quiet room of Luofeng's cave, one of the floors of the Star Tower. Luofeng looked at the 3 pieces of perfect chaos layer biological materials in front of him, a huge rock, 3 silver scales, and a huge broken branch. Perfect chaos layer biological materials are really hard to collect. Luofeng secretly sighed, 100 billion cosmic grains of sand for 1 portion, and after such a long time, I have only collected 3 portions. It is understandable if you think about it. These perfect chaos layer creatures were all captured by the most powerful beings in the origin continent. These most powerful beings simply looked down on the 10 billion Yushan Shou. Only their direct disciples and children might be tempted and try to get some materials. Take a look. Luofeng's palm was like a knife, and with a light stroke, he cut out rock powder, scale fragments, and leaf fragments. He then decomposed them one by one to study their most basic composition. Luofeng saw it. The most basic composition of rock powder is also a trinity form. A gray particle contains the secret pattern of the law of chaos, and 2 blended gray particles are wrapped inside. They are both in the form of a trinity, but the golden-feathered bird is more agile, while the trinity of the rock is more substantial, Luofeng pondered. The 3 newly obtained materials are all in the trinity form, but they are different in subtle ways. The slight difference makes the final complete form completely different. Luofeng was comprehending, and his understanding of the trinity form was slowly improving. Too complicated. Even though Luofeng's spiritual life had reached the peak of the Chaos Realm and his physical life had reached the top of the Chaos Realm, he still felt that the Trinity was too mysterious, like a perfect creation of heaven and earth. It was too difficult to understand its essence. A mysterious palace that does not exist in the real world but is an imaginary building. Thoughts converge here. The Chaos Realm Transcendent Luohi has recently been collecting perfect chaos layer biological materials. Do these perfect chaos layer biological materials have any special uses that we don't know about? A thought said. I have a perfect chaos layer creature. I have studied it carefully. It has only a slightly special body structure. It contains some mysteries of the origin of life and the origin of matter. Another thought said. This Luo, he created his own secret method of body refining. His secret method is somewhat similar to that of the creatures in the chaos layer. He should be practicing both the origin of life and the origin of matter to refine his body. And his swordsmanship should also include the origin of destruction. Another thought said. In fact, his inference was also very accurate. Luofeng used the origin of life to comprehend the composition of perfect chaotic layer creatures, and then directly transformed them with the ability of invisible and formless. If one does not have the ability of invisibility and formlessness, one needs to study the great way of the origin of matter and also requires material transformation. A person in the primal chaos realm who practices 3 kinds of origin? This little guy is really arrogant. It is certain that he collected perfect chaos layer biological materials, and there is nothing special about them. The next piece of information is that the Snow Realm ancestor exchanged a Camel Mountain Beast corpse at any cost. The Camel Mountain Beast is a special life form cultivated by the Yangfeng ancestor who collected the Hunyuan bloodline. The Camel Mountain Beast also contains extremely rare Hunyuan bloodline. The Snow Realm ancestor practiced the Dripping Blood Sutra and also comprehended all 6 branches of the origin of life, reaching the realm of dripping blood as a realm. However, he has not been able to break through to the 2nd level of the Divine King. He should be planning to use the Hunyuan bloodline to practice. Continue to observe. If he can really master the breakthrough with the help of Hunyuan bloodline, we can invite him to become one of us. The next piece of information is that the Snow Demon King of the Thunder Ancient Country has lost control and devoured the true body of the Thunder King. The Thunder King lost his true body and an ultimate weapon of the Thunder King, which is a huge loss. The Thunder King will never give up. They exchanged information. These ancient beings silently observed the continent of origin. Any precious opportunity or powerful treasure will attract the attention of ancient beings, and they may even snatch it away directly. Of course, Luo Feng now only collects some perfect chaos layer biological materials, which these ancient beings do not look down upon. Another thing is that Luo Feng is also in the Chu capital, and these ancient beings do not have the courage to go to the Chu capital to provoke Emperor Chu. Focus on practicing and time will pass quickly. In addition to practicing, Luo Feng would occasionally take on some tasks to earn credit. Bounty missions, garrison missions, and treasure hunting missions, the latter two were very troublesome, either taking a long time or requiring a lot of thought. Only the bounty mission was relatively simple for Luo Feng, who possessed the elemental technique. That's him. Luo Feng did not want to cause too much commotion in the origin continent, so he only accepted bounty missions occasionally. The target of this bounty mission is the top Chaos Realm expert, Black Mist Great Sage, and the bounty is as high as 100,000 merits. This Great Sage of Black Mist is practicing the great way of the origin of cause and effect. Luo Feng used the method of escape and transformation to come to the territory of the Great Sage of Black Mist. This is a relatively remote area, and most of it is shrouded in black fog. There are also hundreds of ordinary cities in this territory. Shrouded in black fog, every city is like an isolated island. Everyone returning to the city must be checked carefully. Make sure they don't get involved with evil things. In the Black Mist territory, at the gate of an ordinary city, multiple formations are used to carefully check every practitioner returning to the city. These practitioners also accepted the investigation obediently. Suddenly, one of the practitioners, under careful inspection by the formation, suddenly found a bloody mark on the skin surface. Impossible, when did I get involved? The cultivator showed a look of despair, and his body silently disappeared into nothingness. Not good. The faces of the practitioners who were being examined on the side changed drastically. Anyone who sees the bloody mark must undergo a second search to make sure they are not contaminated. A voice came, even if the guards were hiding in a safer place, they still needed to be searched once. Otherwise, once the news spreads into the city, the entire city will be in turmoil. At this moment, Luo Feng appeared in the sky and watched this scene. The Great Sage of Black Mist brought down the cause and effect disaster, causing countless practitioners in his territory to live in fear forever. The transmission of these cause and effect marks caused countless practitioners to panic, resulting in even stronger cause and effect. Practice by learning the cause and effect of all living beings, and comprehend the great way of the origin of cause and effect. If the causal entanglement is too deep, he will bring down a causal catastrophe, causing all the practitioners in the city to be exterminated, thereby completely eliminating the causal relationship. Luo Feng already knew the information about this Black Mist Great Sage. Complete annihilation is the simplest way to eliminate cause and effect. The countless practitioners in these cities are indeed deeply entangled with the Black Mist Great Sage. But in the end, they all perished. Luo Feng walked above one city after another and saw that countless practitioners in these cities were in panic all day long. Once a karmic catastrophe broke out, a large number of lives would die. Found it. Luo Feng sensed a Chaos Realm aura, which was from a merchant living in one of the cities. The vendor was running his business with a smile on his face, dealing with some old customers enthusiastically. The practitioners in the city had no idea that this vendor was the source of endless evil catastrophes. The vendor sensed something and looked up at Luo Feng. The moment he saw it, the merchant felt that everything else in front of him disappeared, and he only saw an endless and majestic star. This majestic star rolled in and crushed the merchant's spiritual will. The spiritual will was instantly annihilated, and the Black Mist Great Sage completely perished. Luo Feng was too cautious. He was worried that the Black Mist Great Sage could perform the causal escape technique. But in fact, the Black Mist Great Sage only practiced one branch of the causal origin Great Tao and was not good at the causal escape technique. As soon as Luo Feng arrived, he used his killer move, Legend Technique, and crushed him directly with his super strong mental will. The enemy didn't have a trace of consciousness and didn't even have time to perform the secret method of reincarnation. Bang! The vendor fell down with a smile on his face. At this moment, Countless practitioners in hundreds of cities in the territory of the Great Sage of Black Mist had no idea that the calamity of cause and effect had completely disappeared from this moment on. Collect. Luo Feng waved his hand and collected the corpse of the Black Mist Great Sage. Morosa finally has food again. Luo Feng left immediately. The complete death of the Black Mist Great Sage also attracted the attention of some forces in the Origin continent. After all, it is normal for the Chaos Realm to be destroyed in battles. But complete death and complete disappearance of cause and effect? That is extremely rare. In just a few centuries, the Great Saint Bayu and the Great Saint Black Mist died completely one after another, which still allowed those who were interested to investigate. The Great Saint Bayu and the Great Saint Heiwu died one after another in a few centuries. They all committed great sins. Could it be that some powerful god king wanted to kill these great sinners? The Great Saint Bayu and the Great Saint Heiwu have been relatively restrained, mainly slaughtering people in their own territories. They dare not affect too large a range. They still attract strong people who hate evil, which makes many forces speculate. There are not many strong people in the Origin continent who can completely kill the top Chaos Realm. Generally, even the first-level God King cannot do it. Naturally, people would guess that it was some powerful existence who took action. Of course, only 2 people died, so it wasn't a big deal. If 8 or 10 of them died completely, it would cause a lot of commotion, and might even cause panic among some people in the Chaos Realm. 100,000 merits. As the Emperor's personal disciple, Luo Feng's authority to receive merits is even higher than that of a first-class Marquis of the royal family. He himself can submit tasks to the spirit of the Chu Palace. Emperor Chu Palace, Heritage Hall. Luo Feng came here again. I need to watch the shadow of the robbery beast once. Luo Feng said directly to the old spirit. He was able to reach the Divine King level from the bottleneck of the Chaos Realm, and the robbery beast diagram played a big role. Naturally, he was very interested in the shadow of the robbery beast with a better effect. Just watching it once is equivalent to the inheritance of the first calamity of 8 tribulations life form. The price is too high, and Luo Feng has only accumulated enough merit at this moment. Watch the shadow of the calamity beast. The old spirit of the weapon looked at Luo Feng. The complete shadow of the calamity beast, even if it is just its image, requires the will of the God King level to barely stay awake. It is best to reach the second level of the God King realm to watch it. The will of the God King threshold is mainly used to stay awake. You can't remember too much after watching the image. Are you sure? Continue to watch. The old spirit of the weapon looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded. Watch. A video is so terrifying. What is the origin of this calamity beast? Get ready. The old spirit of the weapon nodded, and then he disappeared. Luo Feng looked at the chaos in front of him, and suddenly a vague huge figure began to emerge from it. Its body was like a vast world, all red and with flames rising. It had 8 pairs of huge wings, and 4 huge hooves that seemed to support the entire world. Its huge single eye was looking coldly in the direction of Luo Feng. Boom, every move it made was very difficult because it was bound by chains. These chains came from nothingness and penetrated every part of its body and soul, making it difficult for it to resist. It looked in the direction of Luo Feng, its eyes filled with terrifying murderous intent. Luo Feng even saw traces of its past and its growth, growing step by step from a weak and inconspicuous calamity beast, which was exactly the process experienced by the map of 3,000 void calamity beasts. However, the traces of the past that he saw at this moment were much more detailed than the picture of 3,000 void tribulation beasts, and also much more terrifying and depressing. This is a video of a powerful being watching the calamity beast. Luo Feng understood a little. That powerful being can see the traces of the calamity beast in the past time and space. And he recorded this video and kept it. If a weak person saw a robbery beast, he would probably die immediately. Being able to see the traces of the calamity beast in the past time and space at a glance, this method has exceeded Luo Feng's imagination. Even the emperor of the ancient country of Yangfeng looked at the shadows of the calamity beasts and painted pictures of them. The robbery beast picture is only a part of the real robbery beast. The calamity beast is actually bound. Luo Feng was somewhat shocked. The chains extending out of the void obviously made it difficult for the Calamity Beast to break free. I am a second-level God King, but I can only see the shadow of the beast. The strength of the beast must be above the ultimate God King. Such an existence is still bound and trapped. Luo Feng was shocked and instantly guessed that the more powerful existence that bound the beast should be the cultivator. After all, the shadow of the beast was passed down to the ancient country of Yangfeng. Judging from the growth trajectory of the Calamity Beast, it should not be from the cultivator side. Luo Feng thought, it should be a terrifying life outside the cage. Luo Feng had to admit that just by looking at the growth trajectory of the Calamity Beast, Luo Feng was filled with admiration, but there were still more powerful beings that could restrain the Calamity Beast. Be in awe. Luo Feng secretly persuaded himself, like the robbery beast, even if it is a terrifying existence above the ultimate realm of the God King, it is still bound, and I am just a small chaos realm now. Luo Feng memorized this video carefully. After all, it cost 100,000 merits to view the Heritage Hall once, so he had enough time. The original picture of 3,000 void beasts was a painting, but this time it is a time and space image, which is much more realistic and detailed. Luo Feng immersed himself in it, carefully experiencing and watching. Only with an immortal heart can one survive the endless calamity. Watching carefully, Luo Feng had a deeper understanding of the immortal heart he accepted. You can abandon everything, even your own life. Only in this way, at all costs, through nirvana transformation again and again, can you reach this point. Luo Feng shook his head slightly, but because of this, it even abandoned its former friends. It even devoured its friends who had shared hardships with it many times. Luo Feng saw growth signs that were much more detailed than those in the diabolical beast map. At the end, the robbery beast had become extremely powerful and there were several friends following him. Just to become stronger, the robbery beast still defeated his friends one by one, attacked and killed his friends, and devoured his friends. It became stronger. On the road to growth, it did not need partners, it only needed to become stronger itself. Finally one day, he was caught without even seeing who did it. With just a change of time and space, he was caught in a prison world, and was entangled in a series of void chains, from which he could never get rid of it. This was the end of the robbery beast. Luo Feng looked at it with some regret. He was caught just by changing time and space, and he didn't even see who his opponent was. Its mind and will are strong, but it ultimately depends on strength. If it is not strong enough, it will become a prisoner. This was also a wake-up call for Luo Feng. It was too difficult to defeat the enemy with just the will of the mind. It required a huge advantage in the will of the mind, as well as an advantage in the secret arts of the will. As my strength increases, the advantage of the art of columns will become smaller and smaller. I can completely kill some people in the Chaos Realm. On the one hand, the will of the Chaos Realm is much weaker than my own. On the other hand, the art of columns has a great advantage. However, some ancient beings on the origin continent have narrowed the gap between their will secret arts and the legend art. Even the emperors of the ancient flame wind country and the monarchs of the ancient thunder country have never heard of anyone killing a god king with their will. Luo Feng understood this point. After all, spiritual will is only a factor in cultivation, and comprehending the Great Way is the foundation of cultivation. Watching the shadow of the Calamity Beast not only strengthened Luo Feng's determination to pursue the Tao, but also made him realize that there is no shortcut to practicing the Tao. The help that the art of element gave him would eventually become weaker and weaker. On the other hand, it also made Luo Feng realize that there is always someone better than you, and he should always be in awe. As time passed, Luo Feng focused more on the Great Tao and comprehended its eye. It has been 27 centuries since Luo Feng came to Chudu, the secret space at the origin of the original universe. Luo Feng's incarnation of divine power faced the complete avenue of the origin of life and could see the 6 major branches of the avenue at a glance. I have also cultivated the body of life to the peak of the Chaos Realm. Luo Feng looked at the origin of life in front of him. I have collected 7 pieces of perfect chaos life materials, but I still can't comprehend the first section of the Trinity form, 8 tribulations life body, which records the 3 major branches of life spirit, life body, and life source. Among them, life spirit and life body have now been pushed to the peak of the chaos realm. It is no longer possible to improve before becoming a god king. I have been meditating for so long but still cannot comprehend it. Do I really need to become a god king to comprehend the Trinity form? Luo Feng thought, maybe I can try taking a Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit. Luo Feng originally planned to take the chaos crystal spirit fruit after the 5 branches he had comprehended had reached their peak, and then use the remaining 4 chaos crystal spirit fruits to impact the divine king level. Now only 2 branches have reached the peak of the chaos realm. According to the master, the chaos mirror takes 5 divines, and the divine king first level mirror takes 5. Luo Feng thought that it was worth taking 1 pill in order to reach a higher level in his transformation technique. Improving the method of change can also deepen one's understanding of the 2 major branches. Luo he came to my Dichu palace. Suddenly, Luo Feng's spiritual consciousness received a telepathic message from his master Dichu. This is the first time master has come to me on his own initiative in more than 20 years, Luo Feng was somewhat surprised. His real body naturally rushed to the Dichu palace immediately. Inside the Emperor Chu palace, Emperor Chu sat on the ground. He had a majestic figure but a slightly frown on his face. Ancestor, he sent back a batch of resources, all for our clan. Emperor Chu pondered, not long ago, the 13 emperors of the ancient country of Yangfeng were summoned by the ancestor of Yangfeng, and were given a large number of resources. This batch of resources is divided into 13 parts, 1 for each of the 13 branches of the royal family. According to the instructions of the ancestor, this batch of resources is naturally for the cultivation of our clan. This is the temperament of the ancestor of Yangfeng. When it comes to his own people, he naturally cultivates them in various ways. For outsiders, they are generally recruited as guest officials. Guest officials must work hard to earn merit in exchange for benefits. As for training disciples, whoever trains disciples will provide resources. This time, all the elites of the royal family will be able to obtain a batch of resources. Dichu thought, of my 3 disciples, the other 2 disciples often come to see me and ask for my guidance, but my 3rd disciple Luo Feng has not come once in the past 20 centuries. Compared with the royal elites, Emperor Chu was also very close to his 3 direct disciples. The royal elites get resources, and in Dichu's opinion, he should also give some resources to his disciples. Master. Luo Feng walked in from outside the hall at this time and saluted respectfully. Ever since you became my disciple, you haven't come to ask for advice once in more than 20 centuries. Dichu looked at Luo Feng. Are you not confused about your practice? Luo Feng said respectfully, Master, I have some confusion about the origin of life. Dichu's eyelids twitched slightly. He didn't understand the origin of life. What about the great Tao of the origin of destruction? You have comprehended it very smoothly. Emperor Chu asked. This was what he was good at. It's going smoothly for now. Luo Feng said. Although the 2 lineages recorded in 72 Swords of Annihilation, the sky-splitting lineage and the dark sky lineage, are only at the top level of the chaos realm, the main reason is that they are unable to face the complete great Tao of origin. Morosa is only in the chaos realm after all, so his progress is slower than that of the great Tao of origin of life. Emperor Chu nodded and could only ask, what is your confusion about the origin of life? Luo Feng waved his hand, and a grey particle appeared in front of him. The grey particle directly cracked, revealing 2 particles of yin and yang fusion inside. This is the most basic particle form of the perfect chaos layer creatures, the Trinity form. Luo Feng said, my disciple has also realized a lot, but he still can't understand it thoroughly. Emperor Chu felt a headache after reading this. He was devoted to cultivating the great Tao of destruction origin, and had a little knowledge of the great Tao of material origin, the great Tao of cause and effect, and the great Tao of space origin, but it was only equivalent to the level of an ordinary god king. As for the great Tao of life origin, he really didn't understand it. Disciple is very confused. Luo Feng said. For more than 20 centuries, he has focused most of his energy on this. Master, please give me some guidance. Trinity form? It's a relatively simple body structure. Emperor Chu said while thinking quickly. As an emperor, one can imagine how fast his thinking is. Emperor Chu suddenly waved his hand, and a golden scale beetle corpse appeared in the hall. This is the corpse of a Chaos Realm creature. Its body structure is a more advanced 10 directions world form than the Trinity form. It can fight against the God King with its body. You should study the more advanced 10 directions world form carefully, and then you may be able to understand it by studying the simple Trinity form. Luo Feng stared blankly at the corpse of the golden scale beetle in front of him. The corpse had a strong aura. This corpse? Luo Feng was puzzled. He had never heard of such creatures. The Thunder Ancestor devoted himself to studying various mixed bloodlines. This is one of the special creatures he cultivated. Di Chu said, "You go back and study it. After studying it, you will have a deeper accumulation. If you take the Hunyuan Crystal Spirit Fruit, you may be able to comprehend the Trinity form in one fell swoop." Disciple, I understand. Luo Feng understood and immediately took the body. Go, go, Di Chu waved his hand. Luo Feng immediately retreated respectfully. I originally planned to give him some resources. This golden scale beetle corpse is worth 1,000,000 merits, so it can be considered a resource for him. Di Chu was satisfied. Since he accepted a disciple, he was unwilling to treat his disciple badly. This video will end here.